In this video, we are going to learn about box and whisker plots. A box and whisker plot, sometimes called a box plot, is a visual representation of data that displays minimum, first or lower quartile, which is sometimes called Q1, second quartile, which is your median of your data, or sometimes called Q2, your third or upper quartile, which is sometimes called Q3, and your maximum. So here is an example of a box and whisker plot. So as you can see, we have our least value, which is represented by this green dot here. Okay, then we have a line from that smallest value up to the box, which is called a whisker. Okay, so this leftmost part of the box is where your Q1 is. Okay, and then we have our median, which would be inside the box. It could be anywhere within the box depending on your data. Okay, but we would call this Q2 or the median. Okay, the right side of the box is called your Q3. Okay, and then we have another whisker from the right side of the box all the way up to your greatest value. Here are some steps in order to make a box and whisker plot. So step one is to put your data in order. So if I had all of this data here, my first step is to just put it in order from smallest number to largest number, which is what I have here. Step two is to draw a number line that includes your smallest number and your largest number. Okay, so my smallest number here is 14, and my largest number is 38. So my number line should include 14 as my lowest number and 38 as my largest number. If you really wanted to, you could have it extend a little bit more to the left or to a little bit less than your lowest number, and a little bit to the right, which is a little bit higher than your largest number. So for example, I could make this be from 12 to 40. Step number 3 is to find your median. Okay, so recall to find your median, you are putting your data in order, which we already did. Okay, and then you are crossing off one number in the front of the list and one number in the back of the list. When you get to the middle of your list, that is your median. Okay, so in this case, we have a median of 30. Okay, so for this data, our median is 30. Okay, if we look back at our data, we can confirm that. Okay, so we cross off one in the front, one in the back. One in the front, one in the back. Front, back, front, back, front, back. Okay, when we get to the middle, we have two 30s. Okay, so if they were different numbers, we would just simply add those two numbers up and divide by 2. So we're finding the average of these two data points. However, since these two numbers are the same, 30 and 30, our median is just 30. You can even double check and add them together. 30 plus 30 is 60. And then divide by 2, and you still get 30. Okay, so if we go back, we know our median is 30. And now we're going to look at the numbers that are to the left of our median, or to the left of 30. Okay, so we're looking at the lower half of our data. And now we are going to find the median of the first half of that data. Okay, the median of the first half of your data is where your first quartile starts. Then we're going to do the same thing to the upper half of our data, so the numbers that are larger than our median. Okay, so we're going to find the median again. Okay, so essentially what we just did was we split our data into 4 pieces. So that is why it's called a quartile. Okay, so once we find our median of our upper half, that is our third quartile, which is our Q3. Okay, and then our final step is to draw a box on your number line with the edges at the number you calculated for Q1 and the number you calculated for Q3. You're going to draw a vertical line going through the median, and then draw your whiskers or lines from the box to both your highest and your lowest data points on the number line. Okay, so if you remember, we knew that our median was 30. Okay, and then if we go back to our Q1, we found that the median was 23. Okay, so the median of our lower half was 23. So if we practice here, we do 20 plus 26 is 46, divided by 2 is 23. Okay, so the median of the lower half is 23, so our Q1 is 23. Okay, Q1 is 23. If we go to the upper part of our data, we're looking at our median of the upper half. So here we got, if we cross these out, we got between 33 and 35. So if we add those up, we got 68 divided by 2, which is 34. So our Q3 is 34. Okay, again, the median is your Q2. Okay, so our smallest number in our data, if you remember, was 14. Okay, and our largest number was 38. So we got 14 to 38. So this is all we're doing now. We're just putting it all together. So our lowest point is at 40, so that's where Whisker's going to start. And then our Q1 is at 23, which is right here. So that's where the box is going to start. So this is Q1. Our median was 30, so that's our Q2, so we're putting a vertical line there. And then finally our Q3 was 34, which is right there, which is where our box ends. Okay, so then we just connect that into a box. Okay, and then our highest value was 38, so we put a dot there and extend our whisker from the box to that point. Okay, so what this says is that half of your data, 50% of your data, is between the lowest point and your median, and then the other 50% of your data is between your Q2 and your highest point. Okay, so if we split it even further, we know that this part is 25% of our data. From here to here, the Q1 to Q2 is 25%. From Q2 to Q3 is 25%. And from Q3 to our highest number is 25% of our data. So based off of this information, we can see if our data is skewed in any particular direction. Okay, so if we look here, this can be a little bit confusing, but you have to just focus on what is happening with your whiskers. Okay, so if we have skewed left, that means the left whisker is longer than the right whisker. So this whisker is longer than this whisker. Okay, so it's skewed left. Okay, so that's because we have much more data on the left side than on the right side. Or excuse me, we don't have more data, we just have a larger range of data. Okay, we still have the 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. If we have a symmetric distribution, this means the whiskers are about the same length. Okay, so both of these whiskers are the same length, so that's symmetric. And then if we have our right whisker larger than the left one, we say that's skewed right. Okay, so most data are on the left. Okay, so that means we have a larger range of data on our right whisker. So again, this is 25%, 25% here, 25% here, 25% here. Okay, so we have more of our data here in a shorter span than we do here, which is a larger span of numbers. Okay, so our range is smaller on the left side than it is on the right side. Okay, so now we're going to go through an example, starting with step 1 all the way to step 5. Okay, so if you recall, step 1 is to put your data in order. Okay, so if I have my data here, my lowest number is 1, followed by 5, followed by 7, 9, 11, 15, and 22. Okay, second step is to make your number line. Okay, so we already have our number line below, but we have a range from 1 to 22. Okay, so I'm going to be looking here all the way up to 22, which is here. Okay, if you remember the next step, step 3, is to find your median. Okay, so this is our middle number in our data when we have it in order from least to greatest. Okay, so let's eliminate one from the front, one from the back, one from the front, one from the back, front, back. Okay, our median is 9. That also means our Q2 is 9. Okay, so now if we split our data from our median, okay, let me erase some of this stuff so I don't have to rewrite it. Okay, so if I'm looking at my data, my median is at 9. Okay, so now my left half of my data is here, so the 1, 5, and the 7. So now I'm going to find the median of the data between 1, 5, and 7. Okay, so that is really simple. Just cross off 1 and 7, and our median there is 5. Okay, so our Q1, the median of our lower half of the data is 5. Okay, so I'm going to write that to the side here. Q1 is 5. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for the upper half of the data, which is over here. Okay, so we have 11, 15, and 22. Okay, so we're going to cross off 1 in the front, 1 in the back to find our median. And our median here of the upper half is 15. So our Q3 is 15. Okay, the next step is to make our box and then connect that to our highest and lowest points to make our whiskers. Okay, so Q1 is 5. So we are going to have the front of our box here, Q1. Q3 is at 15, which is here. And then our median is at 9, which is here. Okay, so now we make our box, which is here. And now we make our whiskers, which is just connecting the box from Q3 to the highest point, and then from Q1 to the lowest point. Okay, so now if we're looking at our box and whisker plot that we just made, and we had to figure out what type of distribution this was, we're going to look at our whiskers. Okay, so we see that, let me use a different color, the whisker here is 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, a range of 4. Okay, and then if we look at our range here for the right whisker, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we have a range of 7 numbers. Okay, so since we have a range of 7 numbers, which is bigger than 4, we would say it is skewed right. Okay, again, this means that 25% of our data is here, 25% is here, 25% is here, and 25% is here. Okay, so if we are looking at the range here, for the first half of our data, we have a smaller range of numbers. Okay, so more of our data is clustered in the first half than it is in the second half. So there's a bigger range in the second half.